Hello everyone, this is Perfume Coast, so welcome to my channel. I continue talking about different profiles in the perfumery, and today it's all about chocolate gourmand profile. And so together we'll be running through some really great recipes of chocolate desserts that inspired equally great fragrances. So without further ado, let's jump into the ocean of perfumes. And so the first perfume with a very difficult name is released by the house Trussardi, and it's called Passeggiata in Galleria Vittorio Emanuele 2. So there it is. And as always, let's take a quick look at the notes that Fragrantica is listing. So on the top we've got hazelnut, coffee and cinnamon. In the middle there's tuberose, coconut and jasmine sambac. And finally in the base there's vanilla, white musk and cedar. Although this perfume doesn't officially contain any chocolate note, it's to my nose one of the most chocolate-forward fragrances in my collection, and I just love it. The first spritz gives off tones of sweet milk chocolate with hazelnut praline feeling. And this gourmandy concoction is also very powdery, which hints at cocoa dusting on the top of this milk chocolate praline, perhaps. This perfume gives me distinct imagery of classic Ferrero Rocher praline, with a bit of cocoa dusting on the top again. And Ferrero Rocher is of course this darker milk chocolate praline that's also hazelnutty inside, a bit vanilla-y and obviously very sweet. So Ferrero Rocher praline also has this waffle coating, and the woody base of this release gives me exactly that, waffle-like texture. Very delicious, extremely gourmandy. Unique in its undeniably detectable chocolatey association, this perfume is nonetheless very classy and complex. Although, of course, you have to realize that you may as well be exuding this chocolatey sweet cloud while wearing this fragrance. Overall, this perfume is inspired by the scents flying around in the famous shopping gallery in Milan, which name I'd rather not try to repeat here, not being Italian, but the olfactory journey that this fragrance sends to would be this mixture of cafeterias, confectionery shops, and scents coming from morning coffees, latte and cappuccino, in combination with chocolate pralines served on the side, and also perhaps sweet biscuits consumed by people sitting at their breakfast tables while reading their morning papers or iPhones. When I wear this perfume, I can literally picture this, variety of confectioneries in this gallery, which tempts passers-by with their, enticing sweet chocolate assortment. So next up is yet another beautiful chocolate-forward release. It's called Clandestine Rendez-vouz, and it's by the Belgian brand Soeus de Nuit. So as always, let's take a quick look at the notes that this one is having. So on the top we've got dark chocolate, cedar, blonde woods, milk, tonka, white musk, orange, patchouli, vanilla bean, amber and heliotrope. So there is no actually middle or base, there's this concoction of notes that this fragrance has according to Fragrantica. So this perfume is quite something different as far as chocolatey experience is concerned. It opens up very woody and milky, somewhat sweet as well. And chocolate in here serves as a supporting act, rather. The notes pyramid features dark chocolate, and if so, there is just a touch of that impression. So perhaps this dark chocolate is just an addition to our gourmand experience. I would say that this perfume is rather along the lines of commodity milk or Mauboussin Star perhaps, but here we also have this slightly bitterish chocolate hint. And also the likes of sugar-coated citrus, which is probably served by orange note listed. So the image that this perfume gives off to me would be this soft pastry, the likes of roly-poly with chocolate swirl inside. And this inside also has some caramelized citrus perhaps. But once again, this perfume is not at all excessively sweet. It remains quite woody, which is exactly what gives off this bready impression. It also is milky creamy as well as touch chocolatey and caramelized orange sweet. Because of this woodiness, this perfume, whilst being a bright, sweet gourmand, still remains this unisex perfume and can be a perfect menswear. And of course, I'm pretty sure that gourmand-leaning girls will be delighted by this beautiful and largely underrated scent. So next up is yet another Italian release. It's a release by Tiziana Terenzi, and it's called Al Contrario. And as always, let's have a quick look at the notes that Fragrantica is listing. So here what we've got on the top is cacao pod, malt, ebony wood. In the middle there's vanilla, tonka bean and orchid. And finally in the base are sugarcane, hazelnuts, sandalwood and benzoin. So this perfume opens up powdery, bready, just a touch sweet and very boozy, which is perfectly explained by the notes listed. So ebony wood malt combo creates this boozy bread accord. Cacao pod creates distinct impression of cocoa dusting to me. And vanilla, tonka bean and sandalwood together give off this utter creamy impression. So guess which dessert this fragrance reminds me of? It's of course a tiramisu. I can literally smell all the layers that this beautiful Italian dessert is made of. I have my sweet soft pastry savoiardi soaked in rum and coffee. This pastry is layered with creamy mascarpone cheese and topped up with cocoa powder. So extremely delicious gourmand fragrance that's a photorealistic imagery of tiramisu, well, at least to me. Again, perfectly unisex and comforting, which will certainly warm you and cozy you up on a rainy autumn day. It's somewhat from the same family as Trussardi release mentioned earlier, but again, dessert association is different, plus this one is less sweet and more perfumey, I'd say, especially closer to the dry down. And talking about dry down, there is a bit of development going on here. Utter gourmand gets less sweet in time, more perfumey, and on a finishing line, it almost abandons this tiramisu imagery. So, and it's getting rather, this chocolate, dusty, almost no sweet, powdery, dark and complex perfume that's also a bit balmy and touch creamy. Really interesting scent that will certainly lure gourmand-loving audience by its dessert-like opening and midlife phase, and the dry down will equally be pleasing to those leaning towards drier and more perfumey options. And finally, to wrap this video up, we've got the fourth release, which is by the brand Maison Tahite, and it's called Vicious Cacao. And very quickly, let's get reminded of the notes because it's been quite popular in the fragrance community just recently. So on the top, we've got rum, raspberry and pink pepper. In the middle, there's cacao, amber, jasmine and narcissus. And finally, in the base, there's caramel, benzoin, sandalwood, salt, saffron and oak moss. Now, this perfume has an extremely, boozy opening delivered by a rum note, of course. This opening is sweet and chocolatey, but at the same time, strangely, somewhat translucent, as if we were talking about this chocolate-based drink. However, with time, this chocolatey impression gets sort of thicker, while still remaining quite liquid, if that makes sense. And my take is that this liquid impression is sustained by some red fruit here that also provides a bit of freshness. And I think that fruity vibe is delivered by a note of raspberry. So after about 5 to 10 minutes, our next dessert is done and ready. And to me, it's this delicious milk chocolate fondue with the raspberries being dipped into this liquidy, chocolatey gorgeousness. Utterly scrumptious fragrance that will not fail any chocolate fan, really. Plus, this gourmand, because of its fair share of translucency and freshness, can be perfectly worn in warmer season and certainly be this great transitional fragrance, gently leading us through from summer and into the autumn. But that's it for today. I'm now wearing all kinds of desserts, which probably will help me to hold off from eating actual desserts. By the way, let me know, what desserts like perfume do to you? Do they entice you into eating desserts more, or just the other way around, like myself, help you to stay away from this. Also, if you've liked this video, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.